This course was, no doubt, under the circumstances, eminently wise and prudent, for it had become plain that whatever else the parties disagreed in, they agreed in this, that each preferred no decision at all rather than a decision adverse to his own views. But is it not most clearly proved that the Pope did not believe in his own pretense to infallibility? Else why not take the opportunity of settling, by the joint authority of Pope and Council, an authority which, in theory, all owned to be infallible, a dispute which had so long convulsed the Church? But to meddle in the matter, that is to say, to decide the question one way or the other, might cause a schism among Catholics. In other words, these Catholics, whatever they might pretend, did not really believe in the infallibility of the Pope and the Council. Nay, I am putting the matter too weakly. For we do not set up our own opinion against that of an expert on any subject, even though we know that he is far from claiming infallibility. But these Catholics must really have thought that Pope and Council knew no better than themselves. Why should there be danger of a schism after the truth had been ascertained by infallible authority? Surely no person could be mad enough to separate himself from the Church of Christ in consequence of a decision which he believed to be infallibly true, and to have emanated from a divinely promised and infallible guidance. The only way, I say, of accounting for the conduct of the Pope and the Council on this occasion is that neither one nor other believed in the pretense of infallibility. For, as I have said, acting is the test of faith, and here the Pope acts as any prudent, well-advised sovereign would act under similar circumstances, endeavoring to avoid a decision that must irritate one party or other, and trying to conciliate both as well as he could. Although he speaks loudly and boldly before the world of his infallible authority, and of the great blessing of being in a church which possesses an infallible tribunal for settling all disputes, yet he acts as one who was fully aware that there was no such tribunal, and as knowing also that his Catholics believed nothing of the sort, and would run into schism rather than submit to the pretended authority of his infallibility, if it happened to run counter to their own private opinions. It is impossible to have clearer proof than this, that the Roman Communion does not practically believe in its own claim to infallibility. The guide will not venture to strike in one of two doubtful paths until those whom he is conducting have already made their choice, and that because he knows that, though professing to believe in his infallible wisdom, they will not follow him if he should happen not to take the path which they prefer. There remained, however, one way of accounting for the silence of the Pope and the Council which might save their infallibility. Namely, that this particular subject was one on which it had pleased God to make no revelation, and therefore that in the judgment of Pope and Council either view might be innocently held. This view was naturally taken by the Roman Catholics of the last generation. Bishop Milner, for instance, says, "The Church does not decide the controversy concerning the conception of the Blessed Virgin and several other disputed points because she sees nothing clear and certain concerning them either in the written or unwritten word, and therefore leaves her children to form their own opinions concerning them." But Pius IX made it impossible any longer to give this explanation of the silence of his predecessors.